Hey everyone, it's the Shawn. Welcome to another edition of the Influencer of Tomorrow show, where we talk to people who are having a great influence over the world, that are building their influence and are building their businesses for the future. So our theme and our idea is to bring you, our viewer and listener, ideas and tips that you can use to build your influence. Today we're excited to have Brad Korn with us. Brad is the co-author of EMyth Real Estate Agent, among other things, also has a successful real estate business, really works hard, as I've had conversation with Brad, really picked up on his ability to zoom in and build a community around himself and build local influence. I think is a powerful tool for people to think about. So we'll get some tips from him. We'll also foreshadow his book, EMyth Real Estate Agent, where you can learn some more of those tips and ideas. Joining me today is my regular co-host, George Hendley. Speaking trainer, speaking coach, really knows all the principles, all the ideas. He's read all the leading authorities, and he helps people blend them for themselves. And we do this show together because speaking is a form of influence, communication, and we want to get the word out to more people. For those who don't know me as well, I'm the Shawn. I'm a corporate lawyer by training. I help people with ownership and control of their business. That's mergers, that's capital raises, it's contracts and negotiations, it's partnership agreements. And I do a lot of speaking and consulting about the future of business, which is where this Influencer of Tomorrow series comes in. We like to remind folks we don't do investment advice or legal advice on the show. For those items, consult your own advisors. Everything here is just to give you ideas to help you grow, to help you build your business. We do love your comments. Drop them below wherever you're watching, whether that's on one of our LinkedIn feeds, our Shawn McBride fans and audiences on Facebook, the Influencer of Tomorrow YouTube channel. Wherever you're at, drop the comments. And of course, go check out influenceroftomorrow.com to see past episodes, upcoming episodes. Jump on our email list. With that, Brad, we're excited to have you here today. Thanks for joining us. I got my good luck suit on, and I'm feeling the good fortune of getting to chat with you today and bringing these lessons to our audience. So welcome, Brad.
You need as much luck as you got when you're dealing with technology, so that's great.
That's true too. That's true too. And I've had some run-ins with technology. Today's running well. Brad, why don't you talk about building influence within a local community? That's what we theme today. Would love to just get your general ideas of how do you build a community within your local region that really responds to you and helps you achieve your business goals.
Well, so there's a key word in there that you said, Shawn, and it's called build. Right? You don't build a building overnight. You don't build a relationship in one contact. You can have the best scripts in the world for whatever business you're in to get that appointment or whatever, but you can't call a stranger out of the blue and do $1 million deal over the phone before you've met them. There's got to be some trust and become the influencer, which is what this conversation is about, and that begins with relationships. So the way I summarize it is they got to know you, they got to like you, and they got to trust you. And that doesn't happen in the first appointment.
Right.
Probably not going to happen in the second appointment. And it really is like, I mean, I think there's been studies done, and maybe George can even attest to this, but there's been studies done where it can take somebody 6, 7, 8 interactions before they make a purchase. And I know, like in new construction, we always knew they came back to the subdivision about 6 to 7 times. Nobody talks about that. They try and close them on the first deal, you know?
Yep. So George, why don't you jump in there a little bit and talk about that? I know speaking is a little bit of an exception to that, but why don't you further discussion on really building that repetition and that trust factor?
Brad, you must have been listening to my presentation yesterday. I used that exact phrase, the know you, like you, trust you phase. I said to that group president, I said, look, everybody today in business knows it's built on relationships. And that takes time. You will never, ever sell someone unless it's a gallon of milk or a pack of gum on their first interchange with you. It just doesn't happen. And in the world of speaking today, it's the same thing. If you get in front of them and deliver a great presentation, guess what? In 24 to 48 hours, they've lost a good portion of that. And that just is how the mind works, unfortunately. But if you don't do the follow through, you are just, again, a blur within a very short period of time. So I use 3 words, 3 letters, PDF: preparation, delivery, and follow through. You know that from a sales perspective, if you're not doing all 3 of those in a constant flow, you will lose out 99% of the time. Brad, back to you.
Yeah, so it's so awesome, because here's what I figured out. Our industry, in the real estate industry, which I think transfers to every single industry on the planet, once, and we're taught and we're programmed to get the next deal, get the next deal, get the next deal. So what do we do every day? We come in and we start looking for the next deal, looking for the next deal. Well, let me put into relation, and whatever business you're in, here's what you want to think about. How often does your product or service get used by the same person? And what I mean by that is, in real estate, the average person moves every 5 to 7 years is what the national average is. When the markets slow down, it's 5 to 10 years, right? So you got to know what your market's doing. So if somebody's buying a house every 5 to 7 years, when I'm looking for the next deal, I might call 100 people. Out of 100 people, if they're moving every 10 years, it's one person right now out of those 100 people might be thinking about selling right now. And I probably have to call 1,000 to make sure I get a few people, right? So it's the other 99 people of those 100 people that I just got, made the connection or called. And how this really breaks down, I might dial 200 numbers to get 100 people on the phone, and 50 people hang up on me. They don't want to talk to me. But 50 people are human beings. They're nice. They got a nice heart. They're not cold and, everything else and broken yet. So they're nice to you. But really, 1 or 2 people, maybe 3 people will actually have some kind of discussion around buying or selling real estate. Yeah. So out of 100 people, there's 99 people that aren't doing anything right now. What did I just say, though? Every one of them are moving in the next 5 to 10 years. So if those 50 people that I got into a good conversation with, and if I can just take out the next deal off the table, knowing that they're not going to, and I can just have a conversation with them and connect with them, and I'm going to connect with them 3 or 4 or 5 times. So I have to get their information on that call without being a salesperson. Then I can stay connected. So, and let's just say 25 people, I actually have a connection and I can get some contact information, and without being a realtor. And also, here's the other thing. I don't send them a bunch of real estate stuff. 99 of the 100 people are not moving. Why would I send them real estate stuff after they just said, well, we're really happy where we are. We're not really planning on doing anything. So I send stupid stuff. I mean, I just have calls that pop up. I send them messages on Facebook, social media. Hey, what's up? How you doing? How's the family? So this is what I love about this influence call. For me to be an influencer in my community is just to be a human being in my community and give a crap about people, listen to them, what's going on in their life, and be a human who lives in the same area. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So Brad, what I'm hearing here is you're kind of combining your expertise and knowledge. I mean, what real estate, the market, with just being a listener. And so it's that active listening and it's being present.
Yeah. So and that's it. The influencer part, the fun thing about real estate is it really, people talk about it about as much as they do the weather. And when you connect with people, now understand that like my follow-up stuff still has my real estate logo and branding, and every so often there is real estate stuff in there. I need to be the go-to person for real estate, so I don't not send real estate. However, I have heard trainers and speakers in the past like, you're in real estate, why are you sending a recipe? Well, I don't send a recipe to the guy who's ready to list next week. I send the recipe to the person who's not moving for the next 5 years because their husband is retiring in 5 years. And I'll probably call them in 4 years and they'll be ready to start moving. You know what I mean? So it's just being plugged in.
Yeah. So you're really using that localized knowledge, very simple. But you have a ground game under this, right, Brad? I mean, there's some tools and tricks. I know you hit a lot of it in your book, but can you kind of give our listeners some overview of just kind of some of the basics to get this working right?
Yeah, so here, I mean, I'm helping people build this business of selling 100 homes a year every year, just using the simple EMyth principles and the business models that I've created in real estate. And what it is every single person I meet goes on a follow-up plan, and it reminds me somewhere in there to make a personal touch. And so one of the things I figured out is multiple mediums, letters, email, text, but don't do too much automatic. I mean, if you look at mass marketing, postcards, advertising on billboards, email blasts, those go out to the masses, but they get very little response. I'm not going to convert somebody into listing their $1 million home with me by hammering them with 20 emails in the next 20 months or 20 weeks or whatever. However, if I layer stuff in there and every once in a while there's a phone call, then my system is like a campaign or an action plan. If you look in, pretty much all databases have this series of events that will happen, and I can set up whatever I want my series of events to be. So I might have a letter, an email, and then a call 3 weeks from now, and then another email, and maybe a postcard, or maybe I post something on social media, maybe another letter, maybe an email, and then another call 60 or 90 days later. When I run that plan on everybody in my database from A to Z that I've connected with, that 99 of the 100 aren't doing anything right now, and it just keeps popping up those personal touches. It's my reminder flagship. Here's what's really like stood out with a bunch of people I'm working with right now is when you're on purpose and you got people on the phone, they just get a list of 10 people to call today. So they call those people, right? They are finding business everywhere. Yet if I wake up and come into the office and look for 10 people to call, and I have to dig up this number and that number or whatever it might be, and nothing's going out to keep me in front of them so that they know when they see my name, they feel comfortable, they trust me, they know I'm not going to just sell them real estate, that they'll actually answer the call so I can talk to them. And then I can hear them say stuff like, oh man, I just cleaned out the garage. The storage space is now full after I got our car into the garage because of the snow. It's like, this guy's moving pretty soon. He's running out of space, right? Or a baby's coming, or the kids just went to college. That's where I make real estate happen, not a postcard that shows up that the headline says, did all your kids just move out to college? Call Brad Korn. I can sell your house. That ain't going to get me any business. It's talking to them on a regular basis. So that campaign or action plan gives me my have-to-do list every single morning. And here's the best part. It frees my mind up for the rest of the day. Like after this call today, I'm already done with all my action items and my calls and everything for the day. I get to just go do whatever the day reveals the rest of the day. And that's why I think I teasingly say I'm a lazy realtor, but I am a fun realtor. I have fun in life. I go do stuff. I mean, if I want to go have lunch and wings with somebody at lunch today, I'll go do it, So that system keeps me on track, makes my have to do stuff get done so I can free my mind to then watch for more opportunities versus getting caught in the tornado. And then you're always playing catch up. Like my to-do lists aren't really like a to-do list you probably deal with today. My to-do lists are just things that need to, I probably need to do this, but if it doesn't get done, I don't care. It's not some stressful thing to move it over to the next list because the have to do stuff has already been done.
Yeah. So that makes life really simple for you, right?
It's almost too simple. That's why I love talking about this. And I can't wait for the book to come out because it really is that simple. In fact, when they say, and George, you've probably said this a lot, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's just not easy because you think it has to be like difficult. Quit making it more difficult than it is. It's simple.
Oh.
Right. Well, that teaches you something. George, jump in there.
Yeah, I have to say, it's a system and a process, And if we really get our systems in place and then follow the process that makes the system work, it is just like that. It is that Simple, not easy, because our mind tends to run here and there and everywhere. But at the same time, the discipline, the daily discipline of the systems in place, following the process, boom, 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 and it all falls in place. Beautifully said, Brad.
Well, and I'll add to that too, George, because you just made me think of this. When Michael Gerber talks about the EMyth principles, which, by the way, if you don't have EMyth Revisited, or you have it on your shelf and it's got a little dust on it, blow that thing off, read it again, because what he talks about is you are a system, you're a documenting freak. Document what makes you so awesome at what you do, no matter what it is. Or if you're not sure, create what you envision you to look like, the Disneyland version of you, and document it to the T, and then put it in a system. So what I find, most people get hung up right there because that seems overwhelming to document, and how's it go into the system? Here's the secret. You only have to set the system up one time. Now I can start it 1,000 times, and I can be running 1,000 people at once on 1,000 plans, but it only took the time to set the system up once, and then you can tweak it a little bit here and there and add an extra step, or, you know, technology changes and you add in some more steps. You take some stuff out because they don't use fax machines anymore, so I don't fax the payoff to the lender anymore. So I take that step out, and that campaign or action plan is a living, breathing thing, and I call the database a living, breathing monster. Because if I tried to keep track of it in my head manually, I would be like all over the place, you know?
Sure.
Right. So you got to have systems and processes behind whatever you're doing, and I think that's true for almost every influencer we talk about, and they take different forms, right, George? But you have to have a process.
Yeah. You know, I oftentimes use the human body. It's the greatest, most beautiful example that we have. We have different systems in our body, as in neural system, digestive system, breathing system, circulatory system, all of these systems. But the processes are how those systems work and work in harmony. And so you set the system in place, then you have to follow the process. And you said it, Brad, the processes need to be tweaked along the way, because things change technologically, things change in our world, and certain things we did yesterday, we may not be doing today or tomorrow. But as long as we're flexible and have our head in our game, we can figure that out and make that happen.
Yeah, and I love that too, because one of the things that I love about this book, and I love about everything I've learned in life, is that sure, I can give you Brad Korn's systems. I never would, though, because they're not, your body's not my body. My body's, I mean, like, I can carry a little extra weight here, but I can have the stamina of, you know, The Rock, and I can go. Somebody else might feel really tired. You know, the bodies are all different. So it's about creating your system and what makes you awesome. And I just show you how to do that in the book. I give examples of some of my systems, but it's to get you to go, oh my gosh, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of what George taught me when I was early in the speaking world, which is, you know, and I'm a speaker that speaks on different topics. I don't give the same speech over and over again, but there is also a structure and a process to building a speech, right? So if somebody calls me and wants me to speak on something within the future of business, my world of expertise, and they want me to tailor a topic, I go back to that structure, right? And then I use that to build my influence. And you've got your structure built, Brad, and I know George has his structure too. So those out there listening, you need to start thinking about what your structure looks like and how that works for you. And
yeah, in fact, you know what it allows you to do? Again, it allows you to free your mind, so you can actually, as a speaker, I can look at the audience and I can actually see that they're plugged in. I'm not memorizing something. I've never given the same speech twice. Now, I can also bounce around a lot too, but it's just because I can get up there, read my audience, and if they're plugging in and going 1,000 miles an hour, they're going to get more content than if the group's not plugging in at 1,000 miles an hour. You get to tune in. You get to be present. When they say be present, I get to be present in everything. And I mean, just like conversations around town, when you're focused on the next deal, Your brain is working constantly. Like, what am I supposed to say next? What script did I learn when they say something? What are they going to say that I need to use that one script? I just get to sit there and look in their eyes and listen to them. And I mean, I just had another interview come out. I've probably had 6 realtors track me down, call me on my cell phone, right? And they're like, hey, I know you're busy. And I call them right back. Like, if I'm sitting here, this ends and there's 2 calls, I'll call them right back. And they're like, I can't believe you're calling me back. And I'm like, well, you called. And I learned that from Michael Gerber when I first called him. I mean, the way we met was when my wife was in a coma for 5 months. I had her 3 hours away from Kansas City. My team was selling 97 homes that year while I was gone for 5 months. And I would come back and still do listing appointments. And I just had 2 people on my team. We sold 97 homes with an assistant and a showing agent, basically a buyer's agent. But what happened was, when I was reflecting on everything, I realized it was the EMyth that had allowed me to spend that time with my wife, who was in the coma. And I just Googled Gerber, found a phone number, left a message out in outer space, figured that's where it was, right, in internet space. And my phone rang like the next day, and it was Michael Gerber. And you know his voice is distinct, so you know this is Michael Gerber on the phone. And he's like, hey, tell me about your story. And that's when he asked me to write the book. He's like, 97 homes with 2 people is a pretty big deal. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, I did it, so it can't be that big of a deal. And it's just because I've simplified everything, because I mean, systems run everything for me. I create a system for a lot of personal stuff. For example, here's another one, social media. All the different things these courses, you can pay all this money to make money on Facebook and make money on Twitter and make money on LinkedIn, and they sell their calendars and all that stuff. It's like, you know what? I just need a reminder to go post something on Snapchat, and then Pinterest. I mean, part of my system is I have every 3 days, I send myself an email with 3 links to 3 different social media sites. Hear this. 21 different sites come to me spread out over 3-day increments for 2 weeks. So I get 14 emails, I get 21 links, and it's got the link and my login and my password in the email, so I don't have to spend any time looking for anything. I click it, and when it says Pinterest, I'm like, I don't even know what Pinterest is, but it was one of the big sites that people were hitting. I click, I upload a picture, and then I'm gone to the next thing, and I just process everything out to get it all off my plate before the day even begins.
Yep, fantastic. All about systems. Brad, as we wind up, why don't you tell people a little bit about your upcoming book here? I know the release is getting near, and why don't you tell people what to look for?
We are all anxiously awaiting it. It seems like it's been 2 years. Oh, wait, it has been 2 years. Writing a book is a big feat. And that's one of the other things that I've been helping with Michael and Luz Delia, is setting up a system to help people write books too, because I needed that system. So that book is supposed to be coming out. It's the EMyth Real Estate Agent. And basically, it's about systematizing your whole business. So it doesn't even matter if you're listening right now and you're not a real estate agent, you could probably still grab the book, and you could just take out the word realtor or real estate agent and put in your business and be able to get a lot out of it. But we cover there are multiple systems for money, the system for profitability, and I keep them simple too. You want to know if you're profitable? It's not some big, long, tracking 30 different numbers and running a P&L. Now, as a big business, you need to have a P&L, right? However, I created one simple system, an operating account, which is a checking account, and my capital account, which is a checking account. I kept it simple. I don't understand all these other accounts and stuff. Just give me 2 checking accounts. I'll put all my incoming money here, and I'll only pull in here what I need to pay my bills that I know what they are. That's my budget, right? Whatever's left over at the end of the month is profit. And so when I first started in real estate, that was zero a lot, and I had to go find other money to cover bills. So that means I'm not profitable. It's that simple of a system. It also, what I found is helping big teams and big businesses, is they found out that if that's one person with that account and my team tells me they need this amount of money, it kind of prevents embezzlement from happening. I can't guarantee that by any means, but it's stuff like that. So it's hiring people. It's holding my team accountable to feeding the database. There's a system for that. There's a system for from the time I list a house until it gets a contract, from the time it gets a contract until it closes, from the time I start working with a buyer and sending them listings till they buy a house. Everything is just systematized. So we go through all that, all the way through hiring people, your management system. That's how you grow a business, is automate it so that you're franchising you. You're becoming the next McDonald's or Starbucks or, you know, whatever.
Yep. Fantastic. So, Brad, where do they go to find it? Where do they go? Where should they be looking?
So the best place to make sure you're on for the launch, because I want to sell 25,000 copies on our launch week, and I don't know where the number is, and I don't even know if it's too low. Maybe we're supposed to sell 2.5 million to help every business on the planet. But go to EMythRealEstateAgent.com. EMyth realestateagent.com, and register there. That will take you to a resource page where you can get some more information about it. And it'll also take you to another site that even has more about turning your database into a business, and all that stuff's free. Once you register, you'll get to experience what some of these systems are actually like.
Yep. Just so folks, check it out. Even if you're not a real estate agent, I bet you'll find good resources there. So thanks for tuning in today, Brad. Thanks for making the time.
Hey, glad hanging out with you guys. Nice to meet you, George.
Yeah, you too.
Folks, pat yourself on the back for doing the hard work, for thinking about this stuff. Go get those resources from Brad. Check us out at influenceroftomorrow.com. Drop your comments on the Influencer of Tomorrow YouTube channel or wherever you're watching. We want to hear from you. Maybe we'll get Brad back again, get you some more tips and ideas, but we really want to know what you're dealing with out there and what's important to you. We look forward to joining you for a future Influencer of Tomorrow. So let us know what you need to hear. Drop us the comments, influenceroftomorrow.com, and we will see you again very soon. Thank you.